Welcome to our deep dive today. We're looking at some fresh cybersecurity research and specifically focusing on large language models. It's all brand new stuff published just today, February 17th, 2025. We'll be exploring how these AI systems are changing the landscape of cybersecurity.
Yeah, it's a really exciting area. I think we're seeing like a fundamental change in how we think about security with LLMs. The lines are getting blurry between like tools and threats.
Yeah, it's like that QueryAttack research, right? They're using, Co-style questions to get around the safety stuff in LLMs.
Right.
And the thing that just blew me away was that it even works on models that are designed to be, helpful and harmless, the aligned ones. So does this mean, like, we can't trust any AI system?
That's a good question, and it really highlights one of the big challenges with these AI systems. They're so powerful. I mean, even with like the best intentions, there can be vulnerabilities that someone could exploit. And what's even more concerning is this paper on compliance refugal initialization, CRI. This makes it way easier to do these jailbreak attacks.
Jailbreak attacks?
Yeah, tricking the AI into doing something it's not supposed to.
Oh, okay.
So you've got that on the one hand, LLMs potentially being used for like really sophisticated attacks, but then there's research like ChatOT that shows the other side of it. They've made a security assistant powered by LLMs that can give you personalized security advice using a huge database of IoT information. It's almost like having a cybersecurity expert like on call 24/7.
That's wild. It sounds like LLMs are really shaking things up in the cybersecurity world.
Yeah, definitely.
And speaking of shaking things up, another big idea that keeps coming up in these papers is the zero trust concept. Is it basically saying, like, we just can't trust anything anymore?
Not exactly, but it's a big change from how we used to do security. Zero trust is all about getting rid of what they call implicit trust. It means you have to verify every user, every device, every connection, no matter if it's inside or outside the network.
Okay, I could see how that would be, more secure, but doesn't it seem like super complex to actually do that? I mean, is it even realistic for everyone to go zero trust?
It's a different way of thinking about things for sure, and it can be harder to put into practice, but the research seems to be saying it's becoming more and more necessary. Threats are constantly evolving and they're coming from everywhere these days.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's kind of what we see in this Mantis research, right?
Yeah.
They're using that zero trust idea to find malicious domains like really early on. How does that even work?
Well, they've noticed that attackers tend to like reuse or quickly switch through the infrastructure they use for hosting. So by keeping an eye on those low-reputation hosting providers, Mantis can flag potential threats before they even have a chance to launch an attack. It's a bit like, predicting where a criminal might hide based on where they've been before.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. So it's like we're moving into this new age of cybersecurity where it's not just about reacting to stuff, but like anticipating what might happen.
Exactly. That proactive approach is super important because just relying on traditional defenses like firewalls and antivirus software just isn't enough anymore.
Right. Okay, so we've got all this amazing technology, but are we kind of forgetting about the human side of things? Like people are still going to click on those phishing links, right?
Absolutely. You're right. The human element is still one of the biggest vulnerabilities. I mean, even with all the advanced tech in the world.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast cybersecurity is changing. It really makes you wonder if we can even keep up with all the new threats.
Well, that's what's so cool about this research. We're seeing some seriously cutting-edge stuff, like this siren song paper. It sounds like something out of a movie, but they're using sound to manipulate those XR headsets.
Wait, like using actual sound waves to mess with VR?
Yeah, they're targeting the headset's IMU, the part that tracks your movement. They can basically trick it with these carefully crafted acoustic signals.
So you could be standing still, but your avatar's like dancing in VR.
Exactly. And it's not just about messing with games. Think about manipulating user input or even making someone think they're somewhere they're not. That could be dangerous.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. It feels like every time we get new tech, there are new ways to exploit it. Like this mChammer research, they're finding vulnerabilities in the actual hardware.
Yeah, mChammer shows that even the physical parts of our devices can be attacked. It exploits these things called machine clears that are supposed to detect malicious code.
So they're turning a security feature into a way to attack. That's nuts.
And it highlights the need for security to be built into these technologies from the start.
It's like a constant arms race, new defenses, new attacks, and so on. Are there any defenses that can keep up?
There are some promising developments like Vocal Crypt. It's a new defense against deepfakes.
Deepfakes are terrifying. The idea that someone could create a fake recording of me saying anything is just chilling.
It's a real threat, but Vocal Crypt might be a solution. It embeds these tiny changes in your voice that you can't hear, but they can be used to detect a fake.
Like a watermark for your voice. That's amazing. It could help with all sorts of scams and even prevent fake audio from being used as evidence.
Exactly. It's a great example of how researchers are finding creative solutions.
This all really highlights the importance of data privacy, too. With all this information being collected and analyzed, How do we make sure our privacy is protected?
That's where research on privacy-preserving tech comes in. We've got two papers here that look at that Virgos and one on federated learning for medical forecasting.
Virgo sounds intense. What's that about?
It's about securely implementing these things called graph convolutional networks, or GCNs. They're really powerful for analyzing network data, but they need a lot of data, which raises privacy concerns.
So how does Virgos solve that?
It breaks down those big data sets into smaller pieces, so the computations can happen without revealing the whole picture.
Like splitting a secret code so no one person has all the pieces.
Exactly. And then there's federated learning. Imagine you want to train an AI on medical data from multiple hospitals, but you can't share the actual data.
So how do you even train the AI then?
That's where federated learning comes in. Each hospital trains its own AI on its own data, and then only the results are shared, not the actual patient info.
So it's like each hospital contributes to the bigger picture without compromising patient privacy. That's incredible.
It's a promising way to improve healthcare without sacrificing privacy.
We've covered so much today, from LLMs and zero trust to hardware vulnerabilities and even the human factor. It's clear that cybersecurity is a constantly moving target.
And we're not done yet. There's one more big piece to consider: the ethical implications of all this.
Right. We can't just get excited about the cool tech without thinking about the bigger picture. It's been quite a ride today. LLMs, zero trust, even sound waves being used for attacks. It's wild.
And those defenses for deepfakes, plus protecting our privacy while still using all this AI, it's a lot to take in.
It is, but you're right. We can't just focus on the tech itself. We got to think about the ethics of all this.
Exactly. And that's where it gets even more interesting. Tech in itself, it's not good or bad. It's all about how we use it, the intentions behind it, the potential for misuse, all of that.
So we need to think about the consequences even before this stuff gets out into the world.
For sure. Think about those LLMs that make those crazy realistic deepfakes.
Yeah.
They could be amazing for so many things, like entertainment, education, helping people with disabilities.
Right.
Imagine personalized virtual assistants or tools that use AI to make things more accessible. But then there's the other side: misinformation, identity theft, even messing with evidence in court.
Exactly. You start to wonder if we can even trust what we see and hear anymore.
It's a huge issue, and it's not enough to just build the tech. We need to talk about it, set guidelines, figure out how to use this stuff responsibly.
It's not just about better firewalls. It's about building a better society, one that can handle all this power responsibly.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And this goes beyond LLMs too. Remember those zero trust systems?
Yeah, they're great for security, but they seem kind of big brother-ish.
Exactly. Super effective, but they depend on constant surveillance and data collection. That raises questions about privacy, even the possibility of discrimination, depending on how they're designed.
Right, right. And we can't forget about the people on the front lines, the actual cybersecurity workforce.
Absolutely. They're facing increasingly sophisticated attacks, more work, more pressure. We need to support them, make sure they've got what they need to do their jobs and stay healthy.
So it's not just a tech issue anymore. It's about society as a whole. Researchers, policymakers, everyone needs to be involved.
It's a team effort. We need to talk, weigh the good and the bad, and make choices about how we want tech to shape our future.
So for everyone listening, don't just sit back, get involved, learn about this stuff, ask questions, be part of the conversation.
Exactly. And remember, what we've talked about today is just a glimpse. Cybersecurity is changing so fast. There's always more to learn, more to discover, more to think about.
So as you keep exploring this world, remember it's not just about data. It's about people, protecting their privacy, their lives, their sense of security in this increasingly digital world.
We've given you a lot to consider today. We hope you'll keep diving deep into this amazing world of cybersecurity.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe out there.